to the channel. So that was Smooth Strings from the Studio Strings plugin from Air Music Tech, and today I'm doing a bit of a deep dive and just going over some more of the features. So I hope you enjoyed the preset demo. So this is the kind of main page of Studio Strings. If we go back to sounds, an orchestral section, and it has 3 pages of presets. So there's about 32, 34 in the first one. The chamber has 2 pages or 1.5 pages, and the last one is solo, and that has 2 pages or 1.5 pages as well. So if we go to orchestral, and let's say I'm in Smooth Strings and go to edit instrument, this is the main page. There's also a vibrato page, legato, flavor EQ, and delay reverb. So that's it. So it's quite a simple one, and I will show you the actual VST later on, and it will show you how that kind of looks in comparison to this. So obviously, you know, this is much easier to control than the kind of VST, because you have all the Q links, and like I said, you can go through all these. This is in all players. And if I use the first Q link, it will change to violin. Viola. And cello. And then the bass, which is like a contrabass. And that is it. So that is your kind of 4 instruments, and then underneath players is orchestral, so you can then change. So if I change this to, so if I leave it in all and go to chamber, you get a different sound. And the last, so you can go through so there's chamber, there's solo and orchestral. That is the 3 main sizes. And then the one underneath is the style. So you have quite a few styles. So it starts off with sustain, it tends to default to sustain, and then you've got marcato. So I'm not quite sure what that is, but and then you've got staccato down up. And then we have staccato down. And then staccato up. And then we have pizzicato 1 and 2, which is rather nice. And then pizzicato just 1, so 1 string instead of 2, and then pizzicato 2, and then tremolo, and you can obviously adjust the amount of tremolo that you have on the vibrato page. So you've got module and aftertouch, so you can adjust the vibrato on the module and on the aftertouch as well. And then we have, so that is it for the styles, and then the last one is poly, and I've just left that at 50. Solo. You've got, so on the first page you've got dynamics, formant, sample start with, attack, decay, sustain, release, and filter cutoff. And the attack up. And that's it. You've got vibrato, vibrato speed and pitch bend range and volume, and then you've got legato as well. So you can turn legato on. also turn on crossfade as well. And then you've got flavor EQ, so you've got EQ, delay and reverb, and you can switch flavor on as well. And then you've got your different amps, so it defaults to neutral, so you can put in bass amps, all sorts of guitar amps and all that sort of dance mix, earbuds, whatever you want. I mean, you're just as well for strings, you're just as well leaving it to neutral, and then you've got delay, reverb, and we are on ambient for this particular preset. Go back to solo and I'll just show you. So at the end of this you have violin 1. So this is violin 1 on sustain. And you can see that's the vibrato there. So if I hit vibrato and I can adjust that, so I've got, or I can bring it down, depending on how much vibrato you want. And like I said, you've got that on aftertouch as well. So it's about 50% on the aftertouch. And then you can adjust the volume for that as well. So like I said, it's much easier to use this on the MPC Key than the VST, because you've got all these controls that you can adjust as you're playing. Yeah, so that's violin 1, and the only difference between violin and violin 2, if I go back to sounds, so the only difference between violin 1 and 2 is the formant changes. So they change the formant to -4. So that's violin 1. I'll go a bit higher up. So that's violin 1. And violin 2. So that is it. The rest of the settings are pretty much the same. I've kind of gone through most of the pages and it doesn't seem to change anything else. So, and the same goes for viola 1 and 2. And I have to say I do prefer violas. So that's 1, and then 2 just takes the formant down to -4 again. And then we've got the cello 1. Which is rather nice. And then cello 2, same thing. Formant down to -4. Got contrabass. And the same contrabass 2, and same thing. Changing the formant. That is kind of the basics of studio strings, and like I said, this is on offer again for $49.99, and it is pretty good for that sort of, considering what you can pay for some orchestral stuff. So I'm going to play it within the fog, because that was in one of the presets. It's one of my favourite ones, I think. So and that is solo sustain. rather than pads. And this is a lovely preset. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, I was going to show you what the standalone VST looks like rather than the version that I get with my MPC Key 61. So it is similar, obviously, but the thing is you cannot control it very easily because for some reason it has no MIDI learn function on any of the controls, so you are going to be mouse clicking all the time. So this is the default patch, which is dynamic section, and then you've got the 3 preset sections: orchestral, chamber and solo, just the same as you do with the MPC version. So like I said, if we go back to dynamic section, which is kind of like the default patch, you've got your players, so you've got violin, viola, cello and bass, and you can also just click on these. So violin, viola, and then you've got a cello. So I'm using my Keylab 49, so I don't have the range of the MPC Key 61, but, without adjusting the octaves. But so yeah, so that's kind of as low as I can go on this particular keyboard. So if I take it down an octave, and the cellos, which is kind of better for a cello. So you've got dynamics, formant, sample start and width on the kind of player section, and you've got your master level and your poly, so we'll just keep that whacked up to 50. And then you've got sound, which is your pitch bend range, your vibrato speed. So if so that is kind of 50% is that, so if I can put the vibrato speed up, so you can adjust that vibrato to use the mod wheel for the volume and also vibrato there, and then you've got aftertouch as well, so I could put up the volume on the aftertouch. So yeah, so that's quite cool. And then you've got your ADSR, so we could bump up the attack a bit and sustain. That's it. I've no reason. I'm right clicking, and there's no MIDI learn function, which is a bit odd. So that's the sustain and attack up. And I'll just put the master volume up a bit. It is quite quiet. So that's quite nice. A bit more sustain and attack. And then you've got your cutoff. And your cutoff velocity, and then you've got your legato section, so you can switch this on, and then you can adjust the speed so it goes slow or fast, and then you can also crossfade it, and you've got portamento as well, which you can bring in, so it says glide off, so if you put the portamento there will be no glide. It says so the legato start note is C3, so I'm playing down here, it's fine, and then go past C3. Obviously you can just drag that to change the start note. I'm not a great fan of legato, I have to say. It doesn't really do anything for me. The last one is effects, and then you can either you can switch flavor off and on there, and then you've got your different amps. Why it's a guitar amp, I don't know. We'll put it to Studio Old, I think. And then you've got your, so same as, this works pretty much the same as the stage pianos. You've got your different reverbs there, so we'll put it to chamber, since it's strings. And then you've got depth, and then you can add some flutter and some noise and distortion. If you want a kind of lo-fi sound, which is quite cool. A bit more depth and a bit more noise. And then, like I said, you can switch the delay and the reverbs off there. And then you've got your resonance and your left-right ratio feedback for that as well. So we could maybe put these up a wee bit. It's quite nice with a bit of fluttering noise. And then you've got a simple AQ there as well. So that is it, and you've got kind of mix on the reverb. So let's try Hall. So that is the VST. So like I said, it's a bit simpler than the MPC Key hardware version, because obviously you've got a lot more control, I think, and it's a lot easier, because like I said, I cannot believe that you've got to do this all with a mouse, that there's no MIDI learn function. Let's see, what could I play out with? Let's try a bit of Momentum. I haven't played that one. Let's see, we'll play it with a bit of Momentum and see what that's like. So it's orchestral with sustain on. So yeah, so rather nice, I think you will agree. And like I said, this is on offer at the moment for 50 quid, whatever that is, 55 euros, maybe, I have no idea. So that's it for today. As usual, if you are enjoying these videos, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and I will see you in the next one.